Commissioner Carlos Bailey is going to make an introduction.
I got here today like Reverend Tamara Turner. She's the Associate Minister of State Street Baptist Church. Reverend Turner, if you can, please come up here. I'd love for you to give the invocation today.
Please bow your heads with me. Most holy and all-wise God, first, Lord, we just want to say thank you. Thank you for being all-knowing and everywhere at the same time and just being all-powerful. Lord, we praise you not for what you have done, but simply for who you are. We come into your presence, Lord, acknowledging that we are here because of you. We laid down because of you, and we woke up because of you. Forgive us, Lord, for thinking that we were doing anything on our own. The Bible says that you are the giver of life. So we stand here today because you chose to breathe the breath of life in us and allow us to see this day. Now, Lord, with this praise and humility, we invite you into this meeting. We ask you to bless all the leaders represented here today. We ask you to bless them with a mindset that the authority that has been given to them come from you. And with every decision that they make, let them be mindful of all the people that their decisions will affect. We understand, Lord, that with you we can do all things, and without you we can do nothing. So we ask you to bless this meeting. Remind us to lay aside our agenda and desire your agenda according to your will. We ask that everyone in here will treat one another as if like they would want to be treated. Truly, God, we can't do anything unless you allow us to do it. And we want to lift up this meeting in Jesus' name and let everyone say amen. Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Reverend Turner. Thank you, Commissioner Carlos Bailey. Mrs. Jackson, will you please provide a roll call?
Commissioner Bailey.
Here.
Commissioner Beasley Brown.
Here.
Commissioner Hill.
Here.
Commissioner Perigin. Mayor Alcott.
Here. Mr. Meisel, turn this over to you.
Just a couple things, Mayor. First of all, would like to remind everyone in the audience that if you would want to speak for public comments, make sure you sign the sheet in the back of the room. And then I have one other thing before I get to my last item. So two more things. First of all, I'd like to recognize Major Matt Edwards. Matt has led our Bowling Green Police Department to yet another accreditation, and I'd like to recognize Matt. He's been in charge, I think, the last two, right, Matt? And would you mind getting up and telling, is this the seventh accreditation?
Yes.
So Matt's got something with him too, wants to show off, so I'm going to hand it over to Major Matt Edwards.
Thank you, Mr. Meisel. Mayor, city officials, commissioners, thank you so much for having me. Yeah, this is the plaque that we've worked a lot for right here, among other things. But this, as the city manager said, we just received our certificate of accreditation for our 7th accreditation. So what that means is the Kentucky Association of Chiefs of Police have 177 different standards or procedures that we have to follow, that we have to be in compliance with, and it's anything from police officers, cruisers having the right equipment in it to all the way to use of force and things like that, but there's 177 of them. This goes back 29 or approximately 30 years that we've been accredited. Chief Gary Raymer at the time, and then the chiefs throughout have carried that through. We are one of two. We're the first ones to be accredited in the Commonwealth back then. So they were very forward-thinking. The city officials, the mayor, the chief of police at that time, Gary Raymer, as I said, was very forward-thinking. So we're pretty proud of that, right? What accreditation does is a complete review of our agency's operation, and it's by independent professionals, people that are professionals in the industry, not our own folks. You know, it's other chiefs, other other folks that have done it for a long time come in, look at it, and say, you're good to go. So there was a site visit along with policy compliance. The site visit required officers to be interviewed to make sure not only that you're complying to these policies that you say you're doing, but the line level staff also know that as well. So it's not just administrators saying we're doing that. But I would like to just say thank you to Chief Delaney for allowing me the opportunity, city manager as well. A lot of people put a lot of work into getting us where we're at today, to show that we're going to keep striving for excellence, to show that there are standards that we will continue to obtain. So, thank you.
Congratulations to our police department. Congratulations to your department.
Thank you.
Thank you, Manager Edwards. A lot of hard work went into that, I know, and for 28 to 30 years, we've been repeating it, and that's says a lot, so thank you. A couple more things, if I might, just ask for, I have a need for a closed session, and then we can go back to the public hearing. Is that okay with you, Mayor?
Yes, it is.
Go ahead and take care of that first.
Okay, we have a motion.
Ashley can read the reason.
Okay, we'll have a reason first.
Pursuant to KRS 61-810-1N for discussions related to the selection of a successful bidder for award of a contract.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Commissioner Linda Hill, second by Commissioner Carlos Bailey. Roll call, please.
Bailey?
Yes.
Beasley Brown?
Yes.
Hill?
Yes.
Perigin?
Yes.
Alcott?
Yes. Okay, Mr. Mizel.
Okay, finally, under KRS 174, we are required to conduct a public hearing on the proposed uses of our liquid fuel tax money and our cold mineral severance tax money. Melissa Kanzler is here with us today and has a brief summary to give to you about how we plan to use our municipal aid money in the coming fiscal year, what we have on hand with our fund balance, and I'm going to turn this over to Melissa.
Thank you, Mr. Mizel, Mayor and Commissioners. For those who don't know, I'm Melissa Kanzler with the Public Works Department, and this is our annual public hearing to summarize the city's proposed expenditures from both the municipal aid funds as well as the coal and mineral severance tax revenue source from the state of Kentucky. I'll be brief, and at the end, any questions you have, I'll be glad to answer. The municipal aid taxes, or liquid fuel taxes as we call them, LFT for short, are taxes received from each gallon of gas sold in the state of Kentucky. The state distributes these earnings to communities like Bowling Green, and the intended use is for transportation-related improvements. The current fund balance is $1,030,000, and this is basically unencumbered funds from FY 2022. The projected LFT and interest revenue, including any transfers from our general fund, totals $2,515,000, and we're proposing expenditures to total $2.5 million. These expenses are primarily related to our annual overlay or repaving project, our annual sidewalk rehabilitation project, and other transportation and intersection spot improvements that basically look at safety upgrades or capacity and better operation improvements. We're projecting currently 16 miles of city streets to be paved. Of course, that depends on prices, which we know are up and down, but we do expect those bids to come in this month, and we'll be bringing that bid to you all. So we're hopeful for that 16 miles, hopefully more. Could be less. We'll see soon. Basically, with these expenditures in mind, the projected ending balance is $1,045,000. A second source of revenue that the city receives from the state is called the coal and mineral severance tax. These funds are taxes placed on coal and mineral haulers in the state of Kentucky, and Warren County is considered an impacted county, and therefore Bowling Green does qualify. As with the municipal aid funds, they want us to use these on road and transportation improvements. The city has a balance of approximately $139,000 from last year's carryover. Projected revenue from the state in FY '23 is approximately $35,000 for an ending fund balance of $174,000. We do not have a slated project for this money currently. as in past years. What we do reserve these funds for emergency activities. One thing I know that we've used them for in the past is heavy winters, maybe additional salt for our streets, so we can get out with our operations crews. This summarizes the revenues and our expected expenditures for these two funds. If you guys have any questions, more specifics, I'll be glad to try to answer them.
Melissa, questions, comments? Appreciate your update. Thank you.
We do, Mayor, need to see if there's anyone in the public that wishes to comment on this.
It's open for public comment at this time.
Melissa, I do have a quick question. Where can the citizens find out if their street is on the list to be surfaced or?
Question, when we get the bids in, we will finalize. We have a preliminary list that we want to wait to see if we can afford. And we will publish that on our website, www.bgky.org, and we should have it on the main page as a current project.
Well, after the bids come in?
After
then-
the bids come in. If all goes well, those bids come in next week, and hopefully they will be on the next agenda.
Can they go there as well to get their street on a list?
They can put their request in via our website portal through our citizen information, or they can call our office, Public Works,
Okay.
and just let us know, and we'll take a look at it when we do our next round of evaluations.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Right. Public comments at this time? Okay, there's none.
Failed to mention Melissa's title. She is our city engineer, and she knows what she's talking about. She is the expert on this subject matter. Sorry, Melissa.
Yes, I have one thing. I think you're doing a really good job doing the energy saver. Remember last time, the last city commissioner meeting, that guy tried to save you money for energy, and I think that's a good idea. You did a really good job making that decision.
Very much. Okay. None at this time. Mr. Mizel.
That's all I have, Mayor.
Okay. Our next item is approval of minutes for regular meeting, August 16th, 2022.
So move. Second.
Moved by Commissioner Hill, second by Commissioner Perigin. Roll call, please.
Bailey?
Yes.
Beasley Brown?
Yes.
Hill?
Yes.
Perigin?
Yes.
Alcott?
Yes. Municipal order number 2022-185.
Municipal order approving the promotion of Leah Glasscock to the position of Benefits Coordinator in the Human Resources Department.
So move.
Second.
Moved by Commissioner Hill, second by Commissioner Bailey. Mr. Mizel.
This is a new position that you all approved in the FY23 budget to help move things along in the HR department. I'd like to ask Erin Holsey, your HR director, to come up and make her recommendation for this position. Erin?
Good afternoon, Mayor and Commissioners. I'm so excited to be up here with us. So I've been with the city for 4 years now, and this is the first time that I'm making a recommendation on behalf of my own department. And as Mr. Mizel said, this is all about growth. So HR is growing from 7 full-time employees to 8. And the benefits coordinator will be the new Lori Gray. This person will be reporting to Lori. Lori will hang on to a thread of benefits, but our intention is for the day-to-day operations of the benefits division to be handed over to this new person. So we did a regular recruitment attempt, internal and external. We received 69 applications, which was a lot more than what I thought we would get. We reviewed 18 of those that we thought had somewhat relative experience, and we scheduled 9 interviews. Lori and I both were on the interview panel, and we have selected for recommendation Leah Glasscock. Leah, can you stand? Leah may look familiar because she currently is an employee of the finance department. Sorry, Katie. She has an associate's degree. She's currently working on her bachelor's degree. She's been with us for a little over 2 years. She was actually hired in June of 2020, so you did not see her. We were all on screens during that time when we appointed her to the city. When Lori and I talked to her, we were just really blown away by What a fantastic positive attitude. She has very customer service focus, which we really need in this position. This is a lot of what that person is doing is serving employees, which is customer service at its best, doing a lot of education, getting out into the departments and talking to people about their benefits. So we're extremely excited to recommend Leah to join the HR department. So let me know if you have any questions.
Thank you, Aaron. Questions? All right, let's make this official. Roll call, please.
Bailey?
Yes.
Beasley Brown?
Yes.
Hill?
Yes.
Perigin?
Yes.
Alcott?
Yes, congratulations, Leah. Municipal Order Number 2022-186.
Municipal order approving the probationary appointment of Brian Pointer to the position of Parks Facilities Maintainer 1 in the Parks and Recreation Department.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Commissioner Beasley Brown, second by Commissioner Hill. Mr. Mizel.
Recent resignation opened up this position in Parks, and I'd like to ask Aaron to come back up and make the recommendation for filling this spot. Aaron?
Right, so we are trying to work towards getting our forever full-time staff at cemetery. It takes a little bit of work there, but we did, I don't know if you recall, it was just about 8 weeks ago, appointed 3 individuals to cemetery. One of those did resign, and so we are looking to refill that position. With the FY23 budget, we created some permanent part-time positions at cemetery that hadn't existed before. And so we had hired Brian to fill that full-time or permanent part-time, that's year-round, is not seasonal, so isn't laid off after 9 months. And the reason that we know Brian is because he worked with us through one of our contract that work with the cemetery and kind of directed the staff of that contract. So, and it worked out really well. Since we did an external recruitment cycle for cemetery, we decided to just open this up internally, find out if there were any other candidates that were interested. Brian was the only one who applied for it, and so we're very excited to give him the position. And please let me know if you have any questions.
Aaron? Right, do you have I forgot to ask earlier, she walked. If you have family here, please stand up with you. Anybody? Work family counts, absolutely. That's good to show that support. And I apologize earlier, I did not do that. Let's make this official. Roll call.
Bailey?
Yes.
Beasley Brown?
Yes.
Hill?
Yes.
Perigin?
Yes.
Alcott?
Yes, congratulations. All right, Municipal Order Number 2022-187.
Municipal order approving the probationary appointments of Robert Creek and Jeremy Forsyth to the position of Operations Technician 1 in the Public Works Department.
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Bailey, second by Commissioner Hill. Mr. Mizel.
We have 2 vacancies as well in the Public Works Division, Public Works Department Operations Division, and I'd like to ask Aaron to come up and make recommendations for these 2 fills. Aaron?
Okay, so we have a couple of OMT1 positions to fill in operations, and we went through our normal recruitment process, and we received 10 applications, and we interviewed 9 of those individuals. Our interview panel consisted of David Delp, of course, Operations Manager, Ryan Johnson, Jeff Walden, and Kim Ives from Human Resources, who's with us tonight. They have recommended that we hire Robert Creek. He is currently a seasonal employee in our golf division, and Gabe Nealon attempted to take back the good recommendation that he gave on him when he found out he was being hired, but we know he's coming from a good place there. And Jeremy Forsyth as well, who is with us tonight. Our recommendations, as you know, they do have 1 year to get their CDLs, and we are a registered training facility now, and so we'll be able to help them get through that process.
Thank you, Aaron. Jeremy, did you bring any family with you? Work family? Well, all right. Commissioners? Okay, roll call, please.
Bailey?
Yes.
Beasley Brown?
Yes.
Hill?
Yes.
Perigin?
Yes.
Alcott?
Yes, congratulations. Ordinance number BG 2022-45. This is our first reading and is non-binding.
Ordinance relating to classification pay schedule. Ordinance amending the classification pay schedule G for general classified employees of the City of Bowling Green for fiscal year 2023.
So moved.
By Commissioner Perigin, second by Commissioner Bailey. Mr. Mizel.
We recently had a key resignation happen in Parks and Rec. Our community center supervisor, Kristen Graves, announced her resignation. And we felt like this was a unique opportunity for us to take a step back and look at the structure and organization of the parks community centers. And so before you tonight, we've got a few changes to some positions. We are upgrading one and doing away with a couple, I believe. And I'm going to let Aaron give you more details before I mess this thing up. So, Aaron, if you will, come up and explain what we're doing in parks and the changes that are getting ready to happen. So, Aaron.
Sure. So Plan A was to find a suitable replacement for Kristen Graves to be the community center supervisor at Moxley. Even though this is Plan B, I kind of think that it's going to work out a little bit better, to be honest. We did not find a suitable candidate during our recruitment process. We had a couple of internals, a couple of externals, several fell out, and we didn't really feel confident in making an offer to the remaining candidates. I sat down with Brent Belcher, of course, our Parks Director, and Adam Butler, our Recreation Manager, as well as Lori Gray, who assisted me with the interviews, and we tried to come up with possibly a different plan. And while I don't really like to adjust the classification pay schedule outside of the budget, I thought that this was a good time to maybe take a look at a new opportunity. And so currently we have the three community centers. This is really focusing on the two, FO Moxley, which is the main one that most people know, the fitness center and whatnot, and then we have Parker Bennett. And so what we decided to do, we have had, as you can see on the second page of my memo, we've had separate staff for those two community centers. So each one has had a supervisor with a full-time coordinator, and they have, of course, part-time staff and seasonal staff that also work at those community centers. And we have a situation where we had some candidates that were part-time employees that are really ready for full-time jobs. They live and breathe for our community centers, for our families, and we just wanted to make sure that they were part of the future and the growth of those community centers. And so just in a minute, Brent Belcher is going to talk about promoting or appointing them to full-time. We kind of consider that a promotion. And so this will create a situation where we're going to have two coordinators at the same grade at each of the community centers, and we're going to have a manager that is going to be overseeing both. And we'll talk about our candidates for that manager position at the next meeting once we know that we have full support for this new plan. So this is technically going from 4 full-time employees over the 2 centers to 5 full-time, but we know that the theme of Bowling Green is growth. So this is going to be needed anyway, and I think it's a really good move for a lot of people involved, especially our families that our community centers support. So please let me know if you have any questions about kind of what we're doing here with the pay classification schedule.
Aaron,
So we're converting 2 supervisor positions into 1 manager position, correct?
The supervisor position essentially will be eliminated, yes. So it was a supervisor with a coordinator. That supervisor at each community center oversaw the coordinators. And so that supervisor position in the grade of 117 is going to be eliminated. And we're replacing it with 1 community centers manager who will see both community centers in grade 120.
We also think this is almost net zero as far as cost.
Comes with a cost and benefits. As adding a full-time employee will be offered benefits, so that will be the cost. Any other questions?
Okay, roll call.
Bailey?
Yes.
Beasley Brown?
Yes.
Hill?
Yes.
Perigin?
Yes.
Alcott?
Yes. Municipal Order number 2022-188.
Municipal order approving the probationary appointments of Jakia Patterson and Braxton Sowell to the position of Community Center Coordinator in the Parks and Recreation Department.
So moved. Second.
Moved by Commissioner Brown, second by Commissioner Hill.
As Aaron mentioned, we have increase in demand, and we need full-time personnel on staff at these community centers. So I'm going to ask Brent Belcher to come up and make a recommendation of moving our two permanent part-time positions to full-time positions, and I'll hand it off to Brent. Brent.
Always appreciate the opportunity to speak. I feel like a relief pitcher coming in, as Aaron set the table for me really well. So you guys understand kind of where we're coming from. So I get to talk about the unique opportunity. We have two of our permanent part-time staff, which is 52 a week. They work 52 weeks a year for us. They're never not with us. But Jakia Patterson been with us for over 5 years at Parker Bennett. Has done an outstanding job for us. Has proven to be not only a dedicated employee as a part-time employee, but an outstanding employee, period. She's done a ton of programs. She's invested in the neighborhood. And we've always been extremely proud of Jakia and the job that she's done. So first and foremost, I'd like to have Jakia stand up, please. Jakia, do you have family or anything, friends, all that stuff? They can stand up, please. This is Jakia. And so Jakia will be a coordinator located at the Parker Bennett Community Center. All right. Right beside her is Braxton Sowell. Braxton's been with us for just going on his second year, I do believe. Braxton, go ahead and stand, and your family as well. Are they here? Great. So Braxton's been at the Moxie Community Center, and the great thing about this, Braxton has done an outstanding job for us, full of energy, full of ideas, a creative person, and energetic. He's the kind of person that people are drawn to. So you're looking at the future of Bowling Green Parks and Rec right there. You're looking at something that's going to develop our community, somebody that's going to relate to our children, our community, our adults. Extremely proud. If you can't tell, I'm excited, but I am excited, and ready for tomorrow, because I know that Bowling Green Parks is going to turn over into a new future, I guess, and that's our future, and we're excited to see it come to fruition. So, Braxton and Jakia.
All right, Jakia, Braxton, are you ready for this? Well, your bosses seem to think so as well, so that's their recommendation to us. So let's see what we can do to make it official.
Just a comment. It's a long history, of the Parker Bennett Community Center. I used to go there as a little boy, and it still looks exactly like it did back in the 1980s. Yeah, I'm old, but congratulations to you. I know we haven't made it official, but it's huge because the history of the Moxley, the name that it carries, the Parker Bennett Center, and everything else, is huge, and you guys are going to be leading that effort for the next generation.
All right, roll call, please.
Bailey?
Yes.
Beasley Brown?
Yes.
Hill?
Yes.
Perigin?
Yes.
Alcott?
Yes, congratulations. Family, stand up a minute, and we got enough family, we should take a photo right there, so. All the families stand up with Braxton, Jakia.
Let me get your camera, and then you can take a picture with it.
Would you do that? Of course. Thank you, Aaron. Appreciate that. Everybody look here for a second. Nice. All right. Municipal order number 2022-189.
Municipal order authorizing and accepting bid number 2023-07 for fire department vehicles through non-competitive negotiations with Don Franklin Chrysler Nissan of Somerset, Kentucky, in the amount of $106,839.
Moved.
By Commissioner Bailey, second by Commissioner Hill. Mr. Mizel.
Have found 3 Dodge Durangos. My mic keeps going in and out, sorry. And I think they're red too for fire, so how about that? Don Franklin again, Somerset. Kudos to Denise again at Fleet for getting out and finding vehicles. They're so hard to find right now, but we had didn't even get any bids on these, but at a bid opening, so we went into non-competitive negotiation, got on the phone, Denise did, shopped around, found these three, and got a pretty good deal on them with the customer loyalty discount at $35,279 a piece. And so here we are tonight asking for your permission to go get these vehicles for fire. These are paid for out of the Fire Improvement Fund, and would ask for your okay to go ahead and pursue this purchase and get it done. Let's see, is Denise here? Chief's here? Dave's here filling in for Public Works. Can answer any of your questions you might have. Chief, you got anything else to say on these? Okay. We've already got some Durangos, and they've been good vehicles. They serve us well.
Questions? None? Roll call, please.
Bailey?
Yes.
Beasley Brown?
Yes.
Hill?
Yes.
Perigin?
Yes.
Alcott?
Yes. Municipal order number 2022-190.
Municipal order authorizing and accepting bid number 2023-05 for police department vehicles through non-competitive negotiations with Don Franklin Chrysler Nissan of Somerset, Kentucky, in an amount not to exceed $389,368.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Commissioner Perigin, second by Commissioner Beasley Brown. Mr. Mizel.
So like the three fire vehicles that were approved in the FY23 budget, we had 10 police cars, cruisers, also in our FY23 budget. And again, it was tough. We didn't get any bids on these. And, well, actually we did. Don Franklin of Somerset was the only bid. However, the bid didn't include black paint on the fenders, all the stuff that we wanted. So, again, we went to work on this, and we found some chargers for the police department, and they're going to paint them up, put all the stuff on them that we need to, at a price of $35,877 each. And I'm sorry, yeah, $35,877 each for a total price of the $389,368. This also includes 2 chargers we're going to use for the CID department that will be kind of plain, unmarked cars. So we feel good. We've worked with Don Franklin Somerset, as you know, before, and very thankful for their cooperation and their help in finding us vehicles. So ask for your approval on this. Chief Delaney's here, can answer any of your questions on this, as well as Deputy Chief Bowles and Assistant Chief Edwards. If you have any questions.
Questions? None? Roll call.
Bailey?
Yes.
Beasley Brown?
Yes.
Hill?
Yes.
Perigin?
Yes.
Alcott?
Yes. Municipal order number 2022-191.
Municipal order authorizing and accepting the relocation of an electric transmission line from Warren Rural Electric Cooperative Corporation of Bowling Green, Kentucky, in the amount of $85,720.65.
By Commissioner Bailey, second by Commissioner Hill. Mr. Mizel.
So as you will recall, we purchased some additional land years ago up near the Station 5 on Porter Pike. It was a lot to the right of the fire station. On that lot is a drainage area which we can work around, but there's also these electric transmission lines, and there was one that was right in the way where we wanted to put some stuff in our new addition with our training center. And so Chief Delaney approached RACC about getting this pole relocated, and they came back, and this was actually a lesser amount than we thought it was going to be originally, but they are willing to do this relocation of this electric line. It's a major one that carries a lot of electricity for $85,720. We think this is a fair deal and would like to get this done in order to move forward with our project up there with our safety training center at Station 5. So Chief Brooks is here, Chief Delaney's here, as well as Dave Hayner, have all been working on this project and can answer any questions you might have. But this is a win for us to get this line moved out of the way into a better position on that land where we can do our project.
Thank you, Mr. Mizel. Questions? Roll call, please.
Bailey?
Yes.
Beasley Brown?
Yes.
Hill?
Yes.
Perigin?
Yes.
Alcott?
Yes. Municipal order number 2022-192.
Municipal order authorizing the acceptance of a Homeland Security grant funds through the Federal Emergency Management Agency fiscal year 2021 Assistance to Firefighters Grant Program in the amount of $107,127.27 for fire department training.
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Perigin, second by Commissioner Hill.
This is a grant from the AFG Assistance to Firefighters Grant Program for fire. They would like to use this money for training, hazmat technician training, airport rescue and firefighting training, and then the ISO, or the Incident Safety Officer training, totaling about $117,840. We do have a 10% match required on this. That would amount to $10,712 to go with the 90%. We have typically not applied for training money, but this is a really excellent opportunity to get money to reimburse us for the cost that we are out to get people trained. And so we ask for your support to pursue this grant and accept it when we get it as well. And so Chief Brooks is here, Nick Cook is here. Both of them work together on this, and I think it's a really good thing. So ask for your approval.
Questions, comments? Roll call, please.
Bailey?
Yes.
Beasley Brown?
Yes.
Hill?
Yes.
Perigin?
Yes.
Alcott?
Yes. Municipal order number 2022-193.
Municipal order approving the submission of the fiscal year 2022 Section 8 Management Assessment Program certification for the Housing Choice Voucher Program.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Commissioner Beasley Brown, second by Commissioner Bailey. Mr. Mizel.
Each year, HUD requires us to perform this CMAP, get this certification, and it's basically evaluation of the management operation of our Housing Choice Voucher Program. I'd like to thank Elvira Romick for working on this and keeping us in line. This is what helps us achieve that high performer agency award that we get each year from HUD for keeping our T's crossed and our I's dotted. And this is just an annual exercise that we must do to keep in compliance with HUD. And again, thanks to Elvira for taking care of this, and she's here to answer any questions you might have on this annual exercise. I think it's annual, right? Yep. Brent Childers does a little work on this, maybe, sort of, too, but he's also here. He might be able to answer a question on it, so.
All right, thank you, Elvira. Appreciate your work on this, and your expertise goes a long ways in our community. Thank you. Okay, commissioners? Okay, roll call, please.
Bailey?
Yes.
Beasley Brown?
Yes.
Hill?
Yes.
Perigin?
Yes.
Alcott?
Yes. Municipal order number 2022-194.
Municipal order authorizing and approving a shared active transportation services agreement between the City of Bowling Green and Wills Labs, Inc.
So moved. Second.
By Commissioner Hill, second by
So this pertains to the e-bikes, and I think those may have hit the ground yesterday, I was told, on campus, and you might start seeing them downtown some, but we thought that we should be a party to this agreement, and since they will be in our downtown, and we're going to be supplying docking areas for them to reside in, Wheels is responsible for all upkeep, maintenance, and parking of these wheels or these bikes. You basically have an app you load up on your phone where you can rent the bike off your app. When you're done, you are to return them to designated parking areas in your packets. We have provided you with a map of those areas. Basically, the area that this is going to operate within is going to be from Kentucky over to the bypass, basically from the river up to South Campus, all the way to South Campus on Nashville Road. And so it's a pretty large area, but you'll see that in your map, or on your map, all the way from Campbell Lane down there on South Campus, all the way back to the bypass on the north end, and then from the bypass, 31W over to, I think it's Kentucky Street or Adams. Am I correct on that, Brent? Around campus. Also, Exhibit C in your packets shows you all of the docking stations that we have agreed to allow in our downtown area, and that they're owned by the city. Roland Bland Park will have a little area. Coomer Little, the county's going to allow it on Soke Marketplace. We're going to allow a little area at Circus Square. The Paxton lot over here behind us, we're going to allow a parking area there. And then there'll be a little spot on College Street downtown. So Hillary worked on this, Brent worked on this with the agreement, and they're here to answer any questions you might have.
Are there additional lots on Western's campus?
I believe so.
Hughes campus, they have a separate agreement with Wheels that denote theirs. These are just the ones that the city is providing, and Wheels is responsible for acquiring any that are on private property. So if they, for instance, wanted to have one at the baseball stadium, that'd be private property. They'd have to work out an agreement with them, or at the medical center, or Graves Gilbert, or any other destinations in this area. That's their responsibility.
What happens if somebody doesn't return it to those areas?
So they know where all the bikes are, they know where they're at. They'll send messaging, they can eventually suspend somebody's account, they can continue to charge them. The first part of this is going to be education, and I had a call with them last week explaining the importance of the parking and what that's going to do on whether or not they are successful in this community or not.
How many are there starting out, Brent? Do you know?
50 is the soft launch. By next week, it'll be up to, I think, a couple of hundred. But they wanted to start as they rolled out with just 50, starting really on campus, as the primary target user is going to be your college-age population. These are available for anybody to ride, and anybody can download the app, pay for the service. But the primary target for these types of mobility devices is really 18 to 24-year-olds. That's why the campus connection is so important. I have ridden them. They're a lot of fun. So I enjoy them.
But just like with the Limes, when we were talking about the little scooters and things like that, they have retrievers, I'm assuming, people that are going to go get these things. But
correct.
when the battery runs all the way out, that's where they run into difficulties.
Right. So they'll have an on-site or on-location operations team that will be going out, rebalancing, redistributing, and also swapping out batteries. These have an interchangeable battery, so they can put in a new battery, take it back. And so Wheels will have a presence here locally with office space and have an on-the-ground team here to go out and manage that part of it. Right now, they're bringing in, as part of their rollout, about 7 folks from their corporate team to initiate this rollout.
So if someone's downtown, can we go to any of these locations in the city, and if we have the app, and get a bike, or do we have to go to Western's campus?
Any of
to
those
start?
places, anywhere there is a bike available for rent.
If we have the
Yeah,
app, we can
yeah,
get it? Okay.
that's correct.
And will they be charging at this location? They're just...
There's parked,
Okay.
just defining the parking areas. All the charging would be taking place at Wheels and then just putting in new batteries, kind of like a cordless drill. When it runs dead, you grab another one off the charger and you swap it out. And then they can see through the technology on the back end whether or not it's standing up, whether it's laying down, whether it's charged, or it's close to being needing to be charged. They can see all that on the back end.
Is there like a probationary period for this? I mean, my only concern, I think this is wonderful, it's great, more transportation is better, is people throwing them on the sidewalks and in the bushes and everywhere else. And
So that was one of my big concerns, is this is really the first micro-mobility solution that we've unveiled in this community. A lot of communities have had the Bird and Lime scooters for a lot of years, and they just kind of got dumped in as part of their community. No agreement. Then the legislation changed that took away our ability to really regulate any of those things. And so that was been one of the big parts of this, is making sure that we try to get these things right on the front end. And in our agreement, if this doesn't go well, we can always back out, and then you're not allowed to operate on city rights of way. And we can change the geofence. But I think this is one of these where we both want this to be successful, and that was reiterated in the phone call that we had Friday morning right before launch, was that this is imperative that we get this right from the beginning. And so I believe Wills is trying to make that investment on the front end to showcase this is how you do it. And there'll be more marketing materials and information about how to use it, how to store it, and they can see everything. And so they can do the messaging, they can do everything on the back end through the app that gives them better techniques. I can't say that we're not going to have issues.
Well, sure, you're going to have some, but is there a clause? Is there like a 30-day clause that we can
There's a
cancel?
30-day.
Okay,
We can terminate 30 days without cost.
that's,
Brent, these parking locations, are they just parked or are they locked?
Parked. They are locked automatically by the app. By the technology locks the wheels, so you can't just get on them and ride them. So you have to have the app to unlock them, but they are not chained. There's not a key or anything like that. The app is what unlocks it. The technology unlocks it.
Great, commissioners? No further questions or comments? Thank you, Brent. Roll call, please.
Bailey?
Yes.
Beasley Brown?
Yes.
Hill?
Yes.
Perigin?
yes.
Alcott?
Yes. Municipal order number 2022-195.
Municipal order authorizing and directing the mayor to enter into grant agreements for flexible neighborhood grants with various organizations.
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Beasley Brown, second by Commissioner Bailey. Mr. Meisel.
Well, it's hard to believe, but what we used to call our SNAP grants have been going for 24 years now. It's incredible. And we have with us tonight Ms. Karen Foley. She's kind of spearheaded these for many, many years. And we are proposing tonight to distribute $29,650 to 4 organizations. And we've kind of, or Karen and Brent and their department have tweaked, made a slight change this year to try to focus on some key areas in Bowling Green, and one being the reinvestment area that includes the historic West End and downtown, and then the other one being neighborhoods that were affected by the December 11th tornadoes. So I thought that was a great idea to open that up to those 2 areas. And so tonight we have 4 awards. Habitat for Humanity, $7,500 for their BG Strong Blitz build for volunteer supports. Then BG Warren County Long-Term Recovery Group, $7,500 for neighborhood outreach and organizing the support. And then we have Retree Bowling Green, $7,500 for tree plantings, education, and outreach in tornado-impacted areas. And then finally, Bike Walk BG would get $7,150 for bike amenities enhancements in target locations. So totaling $29,650. Karen is here with us along with Brent, can answer any questions on these, what we call flexible neighborhood grants now. Flexible neighborhood grant program. We had some money carried over from FY22, so we had a little extra to go with our FY23 budget, so we've got quite a bit left to distribute.
Rodney with Habitat for Humanity's here. Thanks for coming. And
I'd love to hear an update on the project.
Things are going really well. All 10 units are up. 5 of them, the exteriors are almost 100% complete. The other 5, they're working on those this week. But this money for us is huge. We've used, just through this project, through the Blitz Week, we had almost 650 volunteers for 5,000 hours. And that was exhausting and exhilarating and fun if you got to be out there. It was pretty amazing to see everybody at work. But since then, we've had almost 12,000 volunteer hours put in on this project. And while that saves us money, it also costs us a lot of money to take care of all those volunteers. So it's been great. We've had volunteers from every age group from across the city, and it's been amazing to see people work together. And just to say a thank you to, I don't know if you got to see it, but the Habitat in Louisville sent their whole construction team down here that week to help us with that. And so we're grateful to everybody who's pitched in and make it happen. And we're going to have 10 very happy families. Probably not in the 10 weeks, but in the 16 to 20 week area, we'll have them in their homes. So things are going well, and thanks for all your support.
Thank you so much. I know we're so grateful that before the storm, we already had an affordable housing shortage, and for you to be able to fill this gap so quickly is such a beautiful story out of that. So thank you so much for what you're doing.
I'd just like to thank Rodney, and I'd like to thank you for everything you're doing. I can't wait to see those finished homes, but I also like to thank Karen Foley. You've helped beautify a lot of our neighborhoods with these grants, so thank you so much. Appreciate your work.
Thank you, Rod. Thanks, everybody. Let's make this official. Roll call.
Bailey?
Yes.
Beasley Brown?
Yes.
Hill?
Yes.
Perigin?
Yes.
Alcott?
Yes. Municipal Order Number 2022-196.
Municipal order authorizing the mayor to execute a lease agreement with Bowling Green International Festival, Inc. to lease Circus Square Park and designated streets for September 23rd and 24th, 2022, and further waiving the normal rental fees for the rental of Circus Square Park for this event.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Commissioner Beasley Brown, second by Commissioner Hill. Mr. Mizel.
So in your packets, you'll see the request from Bowling Green International Festival for a waiver of the rental for Circus Square Park. You all have to approve this, given that there is a lease involved too that Hillary worked on for their event coming up on the 23rd and 24th of September. This has been a big event for many, many years, and you'll see the letter from Kim Mason requesting the waiver of the rental fee. So we've written this for approval of that waiver. Is that correct, Hillary? Yes. If you have any questions, Brent Belcher has worked with them for many, many years and can answer questions about Circus Square and Hillary on the documents.
If we could, I would like to have Kim or someone from this organization. I understand, there's an admission fee to get into this fair. There are booths that sell things. I would like to know what that money goes toward, the money they make from this event.
Okay. Our next meeting would be the 20th, right before. Would we want to invite her to come, or do you want
Even
to
after. I
just
mean,
get some sort of statement from her?
Right, just to kind of hear, I would like to know.
And we
if
can
we're
email
waiving
that to
this,
you.
what this money goes toward.
Okay.
That
I
she's
agree
raising.
I agree with Melinda, yeah, where does, after they raise it all, what initiatives to help our international communities do they?
Okay.
Order is still on the floor. There's no amendments or changes at this time. No other questions or comments, other than like to have an update. But that doesn't change the vote at the moment.
Yes,
Okay.
correct. I would just, no matter however we vote, whether we vote yes or no, I'd
Right.
like to know where the money, what they do with the money they raise at this event.
Absolutely. I just want to make sure we're
Yes, sir.
clear. All
Thank
right.
you.
All right. Roll call, please.
Bailey?
Yes.
Beasley Brown?
Yes.
Hill?
Yes.
Perigin?
Yes.
Alcott?
Yes. Municipal Order Number 2022-197.
Municipal order approving and authorizing the city law department to negotiate the purchase of properties necessary for the Ashley Circle intersection improvements, and further authorizing appropriate city officials to execute deeds, easements, and other documents related to land purchases necessary for the project.
So moved.
Second.
By Commissioner Perigin, second by Commissioner Bailey. Mr. Mizel.
You'll remember during our budget discussions, we talked about doing some improvements to Ashley Circle, the entrances that connect to Scottsville Road. We have been doing some design work on that, Public Works has, to try to define the project and decide where land acquisition needs to be done, right-of-way acquisition. Final design has progressed to where we know specifically what we're going to need along that right-of-way, permanent drainage easements and temporary construction easements. And so we would like to request from you all that we get the green light to go ahead and start negotiating with those property owners on that affected property that we would need to do this project along Scottsville Road, which is a state road, but Ashley Circle is a city street, and we would like your permission to go ahead and start working on acquiring that right-of-way that we need for these traffic congestion improvements. Melissa Kanzler is still with us, city engineer, can answer any questions you might have on this project, what we're looking at, but basically we're trying to move traffic on and off Ashley Circle off of Scottsville Road more expediently, creating wider, more turning lanes, more right lanes, more left lanes, and we're going to need some additional right-of-way for that. We're also looking at a right-in, right-out, too, in front of the Hobby Lobby, still, shopping center. Not Hobby Lobby anymore, but.
So currently, there's 3 traffic circles remaining on the west end, and these are not in conjunction with
Not talking
these.
about those. These are on Scottsville Road. If you're going down away from town and you're wanting to make a right there by Ford's Furniture, that's a major congestion there. The next one up past, the next one is where the doctor's office is, and Greenview, the Greenview route. That's also a very congested connector from Ashley getting out on Scottsville Road. We're trying to improve those intersections. We'll also go to the other side eventually too. You want to go ahead and explain it? Thank you.
In summary, there's 3 legs that we're primarily focusing on. In front of Greenview, adding a lane to get people out of there. Across from Greenview at Double Dogs, adding a lane to get people out there better. And then up at Ford's Furniture, so that side. The convention center leg of Wilkinson Trace is good. We have plenty of turn lanes there. And then as Mr. Mazel mentioned, a right in, right out at the old Hobby Lobby Shopping Center. It'll be much like the one just up at the new IGA and on out towards Shab Lane, the right in, right out, to help alleviate the Ashley Circle intersections to get the people in midstream there. One other piece of this is on Scottsville Road, they're there at Ford's Furniture. If you're coming southbound out of town, there's not much of a right turn to go on to Ashley Circle. We're going to extend that a bit there. So little parts and pieces. We don't need a lot of right-of-way, like true fee simple, but we do need some. So we're at a point where we need to start those talks and get
Were
this.
you cut off where they come out of that, like that, I think it's express employment, or, you know, when you're taking a left off of Scottsville Road to get onto Ashley Circle, there's that quick right there, that access road. Man, that's dangerous. That is so dangerous.
Our access roads are not ideal.
I mean, it would be nice to just
yeah.
close it and they could access those few businesses from Scottsville Road.
Yeah, unfortunately, Scottsville Road is what they call a kind of a partially controlled access road, so they don't want driveways to every business because that just slows traffic down. So the answer back in the 60s maybe were the frontage roads. We would love those frontage roads to be kind of like the one behind Montana Grill, a backage road. We would love that. Of course, that comes with an expense and pie in the sky ideas that take a lot of money, but we're trying to improve things short of that and help turn movements and access management to improve that congestion best we can.
Such a short
It
distance
really
from where
is.
you turn to, when people are turning right there trying to get into Ford's Furniture, it's a mess.
It is.
Thank you,
Any
Melissa.
questions? You're welcome.
All right. No further questions, comments, roll call, please.
Bailey?
Yes.
Beasley Brown.
Yes.
Hill.
Yes.
Perigin.
Yes.
Alcott.
Yes. Municipal order number 2022-198.
Municipal order approving the reappointment of Jim Bohannon III to the Bowling Green Warren County Regional Airport Board.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Commissioner Hill, second by Commissioner Perigin. This came to me, and Mr. Bohannon would like to continue to serve, and Susan Harmon is in agreements with that, and I'd like to recommend him to this board for approval tonight for reappointment. Questions, comments? None? Roll call, please.
Bailey.
Yes.
Beasley Brown.
Yes.
Hill.
Yes.
Perigin.
Yes.
Alcott.
Yes. Municipal order number 2022-199.
Municipal order approving the appointment of Nick Raybold to the City of Bowling Green Board of Ethics.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Commissioner Beasley Brown, second by Commissioner Hill. This came in as a recommendation from Commissioner Hill to serve, and this is Nick Raybold for the Bowling Green Board of Ethics, and I'd like to introduce Nick, and if you haven't met him, the Raybold name goes a long ways. It actually helped plan our Circus Square downtown, so very incredible history. He works for English, Lucas, Priest, and Owsley. He was a United States Attorney Office for the District of Kentucky, United States District Court for Eastern District, Kentucky. He is graduated from University of Kentucky of Law and Western Kentucky University, and he was a graduate of the Mehurin Honors College at Western Kentucky University. Nick brings a lot of tenacity, and I recommend him for this position.
I'd like to add to it, Mayor. I have never, since serving on the board, seen someone so excited to serve this city. As you mentioned, for our citizens that saw the article from Daily News about his great-grandmother and everything she did for our city, Nick is just as excited to serve this city. So I appreciate Nick, and I appreciate Elpo making that call to Nick and saying, do you want to come back to Bowling Green? Because he's only been back since April of this year, and it's already making an impact on our community. So I appreciate that.
You're so right. He's known his family for years, and they're just wonderful Bowling Green citizens, and proud to have Nick back. Our kids grew up together, him and my son. Great kid. And was he on the Landmark Association too, or the Historic Preservation Board, or?
I didn't mention it all, but
Garden
it's
Club.
quite impressive,
Yeah,
his
well, he just got
resumes.
back and he's joined up on pretty much a lot of stuff.
Okay.
Good stuff.
No further questions, comments? Roll call, please.
Bailey.
Yes.
Beasley Brown.
Yes.
Hill.
Yes.
Perigin.
Yes.
Alcott.
Yes. Municipal order number 2022-200.
Municipal order approving the reappointments of Phyllis Anderson, Michael Coleman, and Lisa Cook to the Human Rights Commission.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
By Commissioner Hill, second by Commissioner Bailey. I also have 3 people that have been serving the Human Rights Commission Board, and they would like to continue, and they have recommendations. That's Phyllis, Lisa, and Michael, and my recommendation is that they continue their reappointments. Okay. No questions or comments? Thank you. Roll call.
Bailey.
Yes.
Beasley Brown.
Yes.
Hill.
Yes.
Perigin.
Yes.
Alcott.
Yes. Ordinance number BG 2022-46, our first reading, and is non-binding.
Ordinance granting franchise related to telecommunication system. Ordinance granting a non-exclusive telecommunications or related non-cable franchise to Stump Fiber LLC, a Kentucky limited liability company, for the use of rights-of-way for the operation and maintenance of a telecommunications or related non-cable system within the city of Bowling Green, Kentucky, and further authorizing the execution of a franchise agreement.
So moved. Second.
As unanimous, other than Carlos, but take it from Perigin and Beasley Brown a second. Mr. Meisel.
Going to hand this one off to our city attorney, Hillary Hightower. She's worked on this telecommunications franchise agreement for Stup Fiber, and I believe we have Mr. Joe McClurg here from Stup Fiber in the audience. So, but Hillary, will you walk us through this real quick?
Sure, yes. As you all know, in 2019, you all created an ordinance that establishes a non-exclusive franchise for use of our rights-of-way. And I think we've talked about before that basically we can't prevent the use of our rights of way for any type of telecommunications franchise, but we can require agreements and regulate how that is done and street cuts, things like that. So that's what we do. We did an RFP, I guess back in the spring, and STEP was one of the companies that bid on that. We ultimately rejected all bids for a number of reasons, but Joe contacted me and said STEP wants to move ahead. They want to get into the business here of residential internet, and so we followed the ordinance requirements. We advertised, they submitted an RFP in response to that, and they do meet the requirements. We're still working on some insurance items, so that's why you didn't have a copy of it, but we said by the second reading, they will have all of that ready to go. So Joe's here. I think he can answer any questions that you all may have.
Thank you, Hillary.
Joe, if you don't mind,
Come on up, Joe.
great to see you again.
Seeing you guys as well.
Yeah. Can you describe for the citizens in the community what you're intending on doing and what kind of internet this is going to be, like gig internet and all the?
Yeah, we're looking at being a competitive carrier and basically going head-to-head against AT&T and Spectrum. And so we're going to be building a fiber optic system with 10 gig capability day one. That's unheard of anywhere except Chattanooga. And so it's very progressive. We put a lot of time and effort into it, and we're very excited about the opportunity.
As we are as
Good.
well.
Yeah, it's going to be great for Bowling Green. I mean,
Joe, can you explain that what your company is and how it's evolving and where you're located?
we're actually leasing space in the WKU R&D Center. That's where our office home base is going to be for our back-end stuff. And then the Lost River Data Center is where we're going to house all our electronics. It's in that same building. And so it's all just right there together, so it's perfect situated. So,
But do you have a timeline of when customers can start using you as an option?
we'd love to get construction started in October and hopefully start getting some signups in turning people on March timeframe of 2023.
Great.
And we think that our take rates are going to be good, and we think that our retention rates are going to be very high because it's going to be good. It's going to be the best thing Bowling Green's seen in a long time. So.
I'm really excited that you're bringing this high-speed internet, especially the type that can hopefully compete in this new economy that we have, this tech-based economy, and hopefully be able to attract some entrepreneurs and others that are looking for affordable, fast internet. So I'm just so excited about this potential in terms of putting Bowling Green on the map as a great place to start a tech business or any type of small business or large business that could need lots of a fast fiber. Could you maybe just explain kind of what are some of the industries that need a fast fiber like that we could possibly see be attracted to this?
Sure. The type of internet that we're going to be delivering with our partnerships with some of the larger carriers like Lumen, and I know you guys don't probably know who that is, but we're going to have those partnerships where we're going to have basically unlimited bandwidth. And so that is attractive for places like an Amazon or anything that's very, very tech heavy. As you see what's happening in Nashville, they are blowing up with tech companies right now. And to be honest, Bowling Green could use a few more. I mean, we could. We're heavy manufacturing, and that's great. But it'd be good to diversify and have some different opportunities. So for sure.
Really excited and thankful that you're helping us to do that. And I think it's really going to strengthen our community and for future generations. Thank you so much.
Joe, I don't have a question, but I just have a comment. I do appreciate, because anytime something's monopolized and you don't have some of the competition, we know that the rates can keep going up. So I appreciate you guys just doing this. But you mentioned Chattanooga, Tennessee. That transformed their economy going back, and it attracted more jobs like what you said, because I appreciate all the jobs that we have, but the tech jobs of the future is something that we need to move forward with, because we know that's exactly where we're going. And we saw how the Silicon jobs they're moving from California. They're going to Texas and they're going to other places because they know that now they got to go all across the United States, and Bowling Green is going to be leading hopefully in that area. So I appreciate you guys bringing something like that here where it can bring true competition and hopefully make it more affordable for everybody who didn't have it. And we know, like during the pandemic, there were so many people who were working from home, there are so many kids, you know, who didn't have access and stuff, and having only one carrier, that's all that they can go to, and if they can go to them, they have to go to the library or another place and have to do their homework there. So that's gonna help.
And to your point, one of the things that happened was everybody working from home, all the kids at home, it just simply overloaded the existing systems. I mean, it was okay for at night watching Netflix, but it wasn't okay when you've got mom and dad that are streaming video. They're trying to have virtual meetings. I mean, it was a disaster. And so that's why you saw so much innovation with these portable wireless units that they were installing at the school systems and different places. So the kids could just drive there in their cars and just to get online because it was that bad. And so we're seeing the need here. And to your other point, there is a monopoly here. And a lot of times prices go up, service level goes down because they've got a captive audience. And so we're going to change that.
So one more clarification, just for public's concern. Can you just briefly explain the difference between coaxial cable and fiber, and understand, and I'll caveat to this, that our community doesn't have fiber right now available to the domestic public of homes. It's only available right now to businesses and schools that have the opt-in or capability because they're located next to a fiber. But what is the difference between coaxial fiber and internet fiber through fiber?
The big difference is coax is not asymmetrical, or I'm sorry, it's not symmetrical. I get them backwards. And so you got a big pipe coming down, but a small pipe going up. And that's where you get the issues with video streaming, because video streaming from the source uses that upstream path. That's where that bandwidth gets used. So if you're watching Netflix, that's coming towards you, but if you're pushing out video, it's going away from you. And so not having that symmetry on that link, that's one of the biggest problems with that infrastructure. The second thing is that most of that copper that's out there is an aged plant. And so what they've done is they'll do what's called an HFC system. It's a hybrid fiber coax. So they'll bring fiber to the corner sometimes and have a node at that location, and then they'll still ride their coax out. And so it's kind of like the weakest link's always going to be that piece of coax, because they can't do what glass can do. Over glass, I can do light, and it's hard to beat that speed. And that's the big difference. So you get symmetry, same up and down, and then you also get the newer technology. It's just impossible to beat glass, because we could do 100 gigs just by changing out the electronics, to where those guys are going to really lag unless something drastic happens with technology. We're gonna eat their lunch here in Bowling Green.
We're very excited, Joe. Very excited. I'm excited because you are so passionate about this. It's wonderful. You're offering this kind of service in Litchfield already, correct?
That's a separate entity.
Okay.
And so I started in the telecom business in the late 90s, and so I built a phone company from the ground up. And so my role with STUP was doing some technical project management and things like that. And then this was kind of a brainchild that we're sitting in a room thinking, hey, look at the need here after this pandemic. And that's kind of what got all this started. And so, yeah, I've got a rich history in the telecom world, and the STUP entity that we formed is going to be able to benefit greatly from that.
And I understand that you're going to have an office, a customer service office, where people can actually go to it and receive service.
So absolutely. I think I mentioned the WKU R&D Center. That's where our back office setup is going to be. And then the Lost River Data Center right next to that is where our equipment's going to be. And then we're going to have commercial office space either on Scottsville Road or Campbell Lane, so that people can come in, swap out equipment, pay their bill, ask questions. And it's going to be pretty cool, too, because we're going to have kiosks set up where they can make their payments, and they can interact with people if they want, and they don't have to if they don't want to, because there are still people out there even today that want to come in and they want to see you and they want to talk to you for a minute and give you and you get the money and then you get the check and they get their receipt, and that's how the transaction works. That's just the thing. People like to do that.
They do. Like customer service.
It's going to make it the best of both worlds.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate that too. Having an office here would be very, very good for our citizens to be able to, get service right away. And so that'll be great. Thank you. Wait,
welcome.
one last question.
Yes, of course.
When do you anticipate the first household will be?
Fingers crossed, if things go well, March of 2023. We hope so.
Lightning fast.
I mean, we're going to hit the ground running.
Great.
We're prepared to do anywhere between 100 to 300 installs a month. And we've got a pretty serious marketing campaign that's going to follow up. So we're going to, it's going to be big.
Competitive pricing?
Yes, ma'am. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Great.
Competitive pricing and a service that actually works. And so that's going to be a plus. It's a win-win all the way around.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Congratulations. Make your agreement official here. Roll call.
Bailey?
Yes.
Beasley Brown?
Yes.
Hill?
Yes.
Perigin?
Yes.
Alcott?
Yes, congratulations on that. Okay, ordinance BG 2022-41. Our second reading is binding.
Ordinance amending Code of Ordinances. Ordinance approving amendments to Chapter 27, Property Code of the City of Bowling Green Code of Ordinances.
So moved.
Second.
Hill, second by Commissioner Bailey. This is our second reading, unless there's any questions, comments, concerns. Now's the time. None, roll call, please.
Bailey? Beasley Brown?
Yes.
Hill?
Yes.
Perigin?
Yes.
Alcott?
Yes. Ordinance number BG 2022-42. It is our second reading and is binding.
Ordinance annexing property in right-of-way by consent. Ordinance annexing 1.342 acres of property at Fort Webb Park and 1.4653 acres of right-of-way located on Fort Webb Drive for a total of 2.8073 acres presently owned by the City of Bowling Green, with said territory being contiguous to existing city limits.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Commissioner Brown, second by Commissioner Hill. This is a 5 in favor vote, the last commission meeting. Is there any questions, comments this time? None. Roll call, please.
Bailey?
Yes.
Beasley Brown?
Yes.
Hill?
Yes.
Perigin?
Yes.
Alcott?
Yes. Ordinance number BG 2022-43, second reading is binding.
Ordinance annexing right-of-way by consent. Ordinance annexing 12.708 acres of right-of-way located on Freeport Road, presently owned by Warren County, with said territory being contiguous to existing city limits.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Commissioner Perigin, second by Commissioner Hill. Was a 5-0. Any questions, comments? None. Roll call, please.
Bailey?
Yes.
Beasley Brown?
Yes.
Hill?
Yes.
Perigin?
Yes.
Alcott?
Yes. Ordinance number BG 2022-44, second reading and is binding.
Ordinance relating to property tax rates. Ordinance setting 2022 property tax rates, franchise tax rates, and improvement assessment rates, and setting forth guidelines for payment, penalty, and interest.
So moved.
Second.
By Commissioner Hill, second by Commissioner Perigin. This is 5-0, and there was no increase in property taxes at this time. Roll call, please.
Bailey?
Yes.
Beasley Brown?
Yes.
Hill?
Yes.
Perigin?
Yes.
Alcott?
Yes. Mrs. Jackson, will you please check for any public comments we may have at this time?
Jeff, how many years has it been since we had any kind of increase in property taxes? 2008?
3. The last time it went up,
Almost 20 years, 19 years.
went down in 08.
Right at 20 years. That's pretty good.
Thank you. All right. Jennifer, if you are still here, you please join us. And Jennifer, you have up to 5 minutes.
Okay. I'm asking a lot for you to take on the county board. I am. But this town has been through a tornado, been through all kinds of stuff. And we need to stand up for the people who can't. People really think that the taxes for cars should be lowered. There should be 10% discount for people who are disabled. And they should do that. If they do it at property tax, why can't they do it in car tax? It doesn't make sense. So I'm not asking for a huge discount, even if it's 10%. You know, and see, they did a really good job on mine. Okay, they did, because I told you it was 1,000 and they went down. So I'm glad, but this is not the reason why I'm doing this. I'm doing this for this community. And I don't care if I care. What I understand is if you take on the county board, you're going to get the people who think that's a good idea. You're going to get people voting for you and fighting for you to win. So I just would like for you to either consider talking to the county board, consider just trying to have a conversation. And that's all I'm asking.
Thank you, Jennifer. Appreciate your time. All right, we are going to go into closed session at this time. So thank you, public, for attending. And as far as the official meeting, we will be meeting, next scheduled meeting, is it still September 20th? Okay, at 4:30, and regular meeting is adjourned. Thank you.